From your fryer to the table, it's a quick trip for crispy fries. But how about a crosstown delivery? McCain SureCrisp fries are designed to go from fryer to container to carrier to passenger seat across town during rush hour down a shortcut that wasn't all that short to a doorstep before they hit the table. And that first bite, the crispiness speaks for itself. To the last bite, McCain SureCrisp fries. Go the distance. See how far our fries can take your business at surecrisp.com/delivery.
A common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
I understand Andrew McCarthy's on, Rita?
Yes, we have Andy McCarthy, who is the former deputy assistant attorney there at the Southern District of New York. Andy, we're so happy to have you here on the show. Your reaction to Hunter Biden, because you said it, I remember months ago, Andy, I think it was like back in June, you said he is going to pardon his son, even though he kept saying no one's above the law, Andy.
Yeah, well, you know, I can shorten this because I heard Pete right before we got on, and I agree with everything he said. I just think they should have been more honest about what they were doing. But if you followed the litigation against Hunter, the two criminal cases, particularly the tax case in September, where remember when the jury was being picked, he came in on the day of the trial starting and pled guilty to the whole indictment and tried to do it without
no negotiations, Andy. He just pled.
Yeah, and that was a real tell that he knew he was getting pardoned, because a rational defendant doesn't come in and eat the whole indictment, you know, plead guilty to every count. You try to negotiate and get, you know, plead guilty to fewer counts so you have less prison exposure. But if you know you don't have to worry about those little details, you do what he did. And you only do that if you know you're getting pardoned.
Andrew, I said this morning that I don't blame a father for pardoning his son because I think almost – what percentage of fathers do you think will pardon their son?
Well, I've said, John, a number of times, if it was my sons, I'd have done it. Now, I think the honorable thing to do is to resign after you do it, because it's a terrible abuse of power and it's self-dealing.
Well, he is resigning January 20th. Doesn't mean
he's being resigned.
He's being resigned. Andy's right.
No, but I went on to say that a father will always pardon a son, also a daughter.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to, you know.
What about friends?
John,
would you pardon us?
Can I ask you a question about that, though? Because I think this goes to the dishonesty of President Biden. If it was my kid, I wouldn't subject him to trials. You know, I wouldn't have.
Well, was that before the election or after?
It was before the election.
Okay, exactly you answered your own question.
Right, but all this tugging at the heartstrings, it's, you know, right. It would be a lot more impressive if he hadn't made political calculations and decided, you know, I'd love to help you out here, but we got an election coming up, so you're going to have to go through these trials.
Andrew, you're going to. What I said this morning on Sid's show is that I don't have a problem a father pardoning a son, but I feel that between what the son did and what the father did,
and the uncle,
right,
and the Holy Ghost, and that they came very close or exceeded the word treason.
And Andy, how come it went back to January 1, 2014? What's the significance of that, Andy?
You know the date. You know the date. It's the date he joined Burisma. It's the date he joined the Burisma board.
Yeah, but there's more to it than that, I think. And this is why it wouldn't surprise me if you saw more pardons related to the Biden family business before it's all said and done. I think what President Biden is concerned about is that you could get a Jack Smith type prosecutor, except this time somebody on the other side, who looks at this and says, well, you know, those crimes when Joe Biden was vice president, they're time barred now. The statute of limitations is run. But if I have this creative conspiracy theory that carries the whole scheme into the period of time where you could still indict, I might not indict them, but I could certainly start an investigation. And as I think people in the Trump camp would tell you, investigation is almost as bad as being charged because it's financially ruinous for them. It's all the anxiety and the stigma and the loss economic opportunity. I think they're worried about an investigation that goes after the things that the Biden Justice Department quite intentionally left on the cutting room floor, because they didn't want any proof involving stuff that happened when Biden was vice president.
Andy, if Hunter is brought in under oath, can he take the Fifth Amendment now?
Oops, we just lost him. He's coming back in 1 second. Yeah, we have Miranda Devine. So why don't we go to Miranda Devine, who is now joining us.
Calling back.
Is he calling back? Do we know? Okay, we're trying to get him back. Well, while we're trying to figure that out.
How about this breaking news?
Go ahead. What do we got?
What is this?
Breaking news, WABC.
Well, this is kind of rough stuff as we're talking about legal stuff. A Florida woman sentenced to life for zipping boyfriend into a suitcase and suffocating him. She was sentenced to life in prison after leaving him to die of suffocation amid a history of domestic and alcohol abuse. Wow.
Why don't we get that before too many wives get the idea?
What was the name? John Wayne Bobbitt? John Wayne Bobbitt.
Andy's back.
Andy is back. Andy, let's go back to, if we could, to the Hunter Biden case.
Yeah, Andy, I was asking you, can he take the Fifth Amendment now?
No.
Yeah.
He can be. He could be held in contempt because he's got no.
Right.
If you don't have criminal exposure, you don't have a Fifth Amendment.
Yeah. Did you see this, by the way? David Friedman, who's an attorney, but also the former U.S. ambassador to Israel, kind of made a little bit of that point. And in many ways, he was saying that this prevents Hunter from pleading the Fifth. And in many ways, it almost opens the door that he could get questioned more now about the family business dealings. Your thought on that, Andy?
Well, this goes to the point I was trying to make before, Rita. I think that what Biden may do in the end is give enough pardon coverage to anyone who's involved that it doesn't make sense to investigate that anymore.
That means a brother Jim, Andy.
Yeah, I think so, too. I'm not sure it's just the brother Jim, because there are a number of close associates of the Bidens that are involved in this who helped them sort of whack up the money and stuff. So it could be broader than that.
Yeah, because wasn't it at one point, it was like all these different family members, almost like 12 different accounts. Andy,
right.
Thank you for calling back, too. And I'm so glad we had you on such an important day.
Thanks, Andy.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Andy.
Thank you very much.
Take advantage of the exclusive holiday offer at Panorama Optical. Enjoy 15% off prescription glasses. And with every $500 spent on glasses, receive a complimentary pair of frames. Absolutely free. Don't miss this limited time deal running until January 1st, 2025. For eyeglasses, contact lenses, and to put your life in focus. Visit 241 Broadway in Lynbrook, New York, or call Panorama Optical at 516-341-0297 to schedule your appointment today. 516-341-0297.